Right, greetings everyone. My name is Justice Masilela, or should I say Dr. Justice Masilela. I am a veterinarian by qualification, so I'm an animal doctor. Yeah, that's my field of work. I'm currently working in Gauteng under Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. Yes. Basically, I'm gonna be answering these questions that they have sent me here in this short video. Please bear with me. Well, the first question goes as thus: what are your main responsibilities as a vet? Basically, now I work as a state vet. So, well, there are different departments and different fields within the veterinary industry. There is the academic field where you help in research and in teaching. Those are our lecturers, our those who work in the academic hospital in under support, and yeah, and those who help with public. And then there's the pharmaceutical side where you help also. It has a bit of research. It has a lot of research, not a bit. It has a lot of research because basically you are discovering products and you are bettering products that are already there to make them better and more efficient in this day and age. So that's what you do, and you also help with marketing and selling of the product and all that. And then there is other industries like the poultry industry where you become a chicken vet basically. So you work, for instance, maybe for Rainbow Chicken. You want to work in their farms, make sure their vaccinations are in place. If they're dead chickens, you go in, you perform postmortem, you try and diagnose. You help in preventing and treating of the chickens, and yes. And also there is the state vet industry also, where it has a few divisions within itself. There is what we call primary animal health. Basically in primary animal health, so that's what I'm doing. It's we go in and help upcoming emerging farmers. We help treat their animals and we help educating them in terms of the basics of farming and basics of primary animal health care. So that's basically what we do. And also there's another division within the state vet. The state means you are basically a government vet. There's also a division of the import and export. Basically you deal with certification of when they're importing and exporting products. You go and you deal with abattoirs because abattoirs needs to be regulated. So you go and regulate abattoirs. You deal with the standard of meat and all that. And yeah, so basically there you deal with the quality and export and import. You certify things, so your signature is very important because the signature tends to go in all the countries in the world, because yeah, people are transporting and exporting and importing a lot of things. So that's what you do. You're in the regulation side of things. You're regulating and all that. So the first question says, what are my main responsibilities? I'm gonna give you main responsibilities of a state vet under the division of primary animal health care. Basically what we do on a daily basis, we go in the morning. Yes, I wake up, bath, get a goodbye kiss from my wife, and then I go. What we do normally on Mondays, we do what we call farm calls. So we've got farmers who have called in or sent us pictures and a bit of history on what's wrong with their animals, and we sort of make a plan and a map as to where we're gonna start. So we have a double cap. We've got in my station, we've got about 3 double caps. Buckets that we use. One's a double cap and 2 single caps. So we are a group of, there are 2 permanent vets, and we are the CCS, compulsory community state. So we are doing our community service. We are 4 that are doing our community service, and then 2 permanent vets who are our supervisors. So basically we get there in the morning and we get our bucket ready. We stock. So what we stock, we put in our needles, we put in our medication, what we're gonna need, And yeah, so medication is antibiotics, your pain medication, your anesthetics if we maybe have to sedate an animal and do a minor surgery under the tree. The fun of being a vet, yes, that's what we do. So we put everything that we're gonna need there, and your basic surgery kit, you put it in there. Your what we call dystocia kit, we put it in there. We put a lot of things in there, so we stock the back, make sure that we have everything that we might need. And then having made our plan, we start driving to the farm. So we move from one farm to another. Your normal, what we're dealing with currently now in winter, it's because there's dry grass and there's not much nutrients with the food that's available now. We deal with a lot of what we call PEM. Basically, cows go down because they lack energy and protein. It's called what we call protein energy malnutrition, because the grass doesn't have protein and energy at this point in time. You will only have them when it starts raining and the grass becomes green again. So we've got those thin cows that do no longer have, and especially when they are pregnant, they go down, and we have to go in there and try and give them some energy and some form of treatment to try and get them up, and to also advise and teach the farmer how to farm, what to do during winter and all that. So that's what we deal with most of the time. There are a lot of things that we deal. Just it's one of the things that we deal with. So yes, we drive from one farm to another, and yes, we do the same thing, but we do mostly livestock. So we help farmers with livestock. Livestock, it's your production animals, cows, goats, pigs, and sheep. That's what we do mostly with farm calls. And then we've got outreaches on Tuesday and Wednesday, or on Wednesday mostly, or one day in the week at least. We've got an outreach. We work with the Carltonville SPCA, where we go there to do what we call castrations and spays. Basically, we sterilize the animals. The male dogs, we take off the surgically, so we take off the testes, and also with the female we open and we take out the uterus, and with the uterine horn, and also we take out the womb basically. And then it's a surgical procedure that we perform. It's called spaying and castration in males, spaying in females. So that's what we basically do. And we also do have vaccination campaigns where we go in with the whole team. Basically, also there are other animal health technicians that we work with in our station. So we go into maybe a community, maybe let's say Soweto. We go into Soweto, we have a station, maybe one sports ground we set up there, and then people bring their dogs and we vaccinate the dogs. We can do up to 400, 500. There was a day where they said they did about 700 dogs in a day. So we vaccinate mainly for rabies, dogs and cats. We vaccinate for rabies, and we also do clinical cases as they come. You see, we are there for vaccination, but also clinical cases as they come. Maybe we see a dog that has a skin problem, we do treat it, or we see a dog that has a wound or it has dog bite wounds. We come in and we treat the wounds and all that. So it's a lot of fun. It's a very busy day in that day, and we get to interact with people. You are there with the community, people coming in. It's a very busy day, but it's a nice and fulfilling day because we are giving back to the community and helping the community. That's what we do. And also some days we'll do special things like what we call pregnancy diagnosis, basically, where we go in the rectal of the cow to diagnose if it's pregnant or not. So that's one of my favorites, because I love it, and I'm interested in it, and I've gotten better and better as the time went. So it's one of the things I love. So the last one we did was in one of the prisoners. In prison they have some agriculture going on there, so we find them having cows and some plantation going on. So we went into the division somewhere in Four Ways. There's a prison around there, so we went there and we performed rectal diagnosis or pregnancy diagnosis on about, I think it was about 200 cows or 150 cows. And yes, we did that, and it was a nice day. It was a nice day. So those are the things, special things that we get to do. And we get to do special procedures like enucleation, when you get some cancers in the eyes, we get to remove that, we get some, we get to treat, and one nice thing, you get to do surgeries under the tree, in the middle of nowhere. You are there sedating your cow with no machine, nothing. You are there sedating your cow or your pig, and you get to perform a very, a very advanced surgery. That's the nice thing. One thing that brought me to vet is that I didn't love working within walls. So I wanted something that I can work in the environment, in nature, and enjoy the nature while I'm also fulfilling a certain purpose. Yes, those are our main responsibilities, and we also help in outbreaks. We have to, if maybe like now we were struggling with African swine fever in Gauteng, we did go in. What we basically do is we control movement of pigs. So we have to give them permits and make sure that these pigs that are being transported are healthy and they are going to an environment that is not also contaminated or that has cases of. So we basically control movement of. So we do have some regulatory responsibility. And to control an outbreak, if there's an outbreak, we go in there and assess the situation, some epidemiology. So we have some epidemiological responsibility to control outbreak of diseases, especially in animals. Yes, and there are a few outbreaks that comes in now and then, like foot and mouth. We were experiencing one in Limpopo, and here in Gauteng, the African swine fever. So yes, we do get a few outbreaks here and there, and there was also the avian influenza. We all remember that avian influenza that led to a lot of chickens being slaughtered, so being culled. So we do get those that we have to go in as vets and try and control those diseases. So yes. The next question, what is a typical day like for you? I think I have addressed that one, what we do. And how does your position fit within the organization, career field, or industry? Well, what I love about my position is that we get to help people who are less privileged, who are emerging. So we helped working with them and bettering their understanding and their farming skills. Yes, and we provide the necessary basic information, and we hold their hand and go forward with them and take them from being this basic farmer to being this growing farmer. So that's basically what we do. And it's a fulfilling thing because you get to work with farmers at the beginning who knows nothing and are not making much profit, and help better them to make some living out of farming. You induce their business mindset in them that farming is not just a hobby, or it's not just something of status to brag it, but it's something that can actually take care of your family, that can feed you if you do it right. So we help them to do things right. And to take care, to invest also, because people don't want to invest, they want to buy medication. They're always expecting you to give and give and give, and they accept and accept. So we teach them to put in a bit of money, put in a bit of effort to try and make an even bigger profit. And also another thing is that we also help in in protecting the community in a way that like when we vaccinate for rabies, it will contribute in public health in a way that when you protect a dog, you are indirectly protecting a human being, because if a dog gets infected with rabies, they can pass it to human, and once it gets to human and it starts showing clinical signs, there's no treatment for rabies in human. We try to vaccinate you, but there's no treatment of rabies. So the only way to protect it is to protect the dog, so that the dog cannot infect human beings. So we are also contributing in human health. So we are working hand in hand, because human health, environmental health, and animal health are a closed system that works hand in hand. So there is no way to address human health and neglect animal health, or neglect environmental health. There is a concept that encompasses the three, which is called One Health. You can check my YouTube channel. You'll find all that. I've got a few videos there. So, okay. What related fields do you think I should consider looking into? Well, There's there's other para-veterinary fields that are there. There's what we call animal health, and there's what we call animal health, there's what we call veterinary nursing, there's also what we called veterinary technology. Veterinary nursing is you're basically a nurse. It's also it's provided by the University of Pretoria only in South Africa. So you're basically a veterinary nurse. You work in hospitals and veterinary surgeries and all that. And yeah, the Mpumalanga government does employ veterinary nurses. So you get to work, you can work there under the government. That's, I think, the only one that I know that employs nurses. I don't know of any provinces that does. But the private sector is quite big enough for people to come in and work in. Basically, you do what a nurse does, help with putting gel core, help once the doctor has a treating plan, you implement the plan, you help, you are there, I mean, to make sure maybe that you can work in ICU, basically to help critical patients there, administration of drips, injection or giving medication, all that, handling of animals and all that. So you are there helping, working hand in hand with the doctors and everyone that works within the hospital and stuff. So yes, that's another one. Then there's animal health, basically, and most animal health technicians are the ones that we work with. So they get employed anywhere in the country within the government. They work as health technicians. So as I said, we do work with they are there in implementing preventing measures. They're there with vaccination of certain diseases like in cows, brucella and anthrax, which are big. The government is big in protecting in prevention of those diseases, and they're also there in helping in rabies, as I've just mentioned. They go around and vaccinate, and we work in hand with them to also vaccinate and do all those things. In places like Mpumalanga, there's what we call communal deep tanks. Those are the guys that you'll find there in the deep tanks. They help, with disease control by dipping where the cows come into deep and all that. So they also help, they work hand in hand. They're the guys who work with farmers closely and helping them also with farming and all that. Yes, there's also veterinary technology. Basically, those are the guys that work in laboratory. I take samples. They need to, maybe I'm suspecting brucella disease. I go into the farm, I take samples, and I send into the laboratory. Those are the guys who run the testing and get the results for us. So those are the guys that works behind the scene to help us diagnose and treat our animals. So they work in the lab with running tests and all that. So yes, yeah. So there are also other, production, and other industries like animal science and all that. Basically, animal science is you work mainly with diet. So you're basically an animal nutritionist. So yeah, that's what you basically do, formulation of diets and helping with in that regards. Yeah, well, they are all worth looking into, but yeah, it depends on your interest. If you've got and also within veterinary science, also there are a lot, as I've mentioned, pharmaceutical, academic, the state vet, all of those things. There's industry where you work for companies, food making companies, all of that. There's like of Zoetis, Hills. Those are companies that produce food and all that. So it's a vast and a very huge industry that you can explore. Basically, yes, that's that. Those are the fields that you can think of or consider looking into. How did you become interested in this field? Well, to your surprise, I got to know about vet on my matric. Well, halfway through my matric. That's why I took a gap year after matric. Well, I was looking for a course that will allow me to work outside on the environment and on there. So I was looking at the likes of ecology, biome, all those things that will make you to be out there in the environment, in the field. So when I came across vet, I saw it as a very interesting, because also there's a lot to explore under vet. You can do, your wildlife. You can do where you're gonna work, maybe for instance for the likes of Kruger National Park, where you work in the field there, or state vet, where you are out there treating animals and doing everything. So also pharmaceuticals and all. So I looked into it and I saw that it was a vast industry that I can find myself in, and it resonates with what I want, also being there out working in the outside environment. So that's how I got interested. And once I got interested and did a bit of a research, there was no way, I don't see myself doing any other thing other than vet. That's why I took a gap year and I applied, because my grade 11 marks were not good. So I had to pass really well, because the competition is very high. There's only one university that offers veterinary science at this point in time, and that's University of Pretoria. And you find that you are competing with 5,000 for 190 spaces. So you must really do well to get in. So my metric had to be good for me to get in. Yes. So at least luckily on my gap year, when I took the gap year, I applied again and I got in, and yes, here I am now, qualified. Okay, the last question is, what advice would you give someone who is considering this type of job or field? Well, you've got to love animals and be intentional with it, because the degree itself is 6 years. I did it in 7 years. I won't hide that, because I did not do well in my first year. So I repeated my first year. But after that, I went through all my years just once. So you need patience for you to endure 7 years like I did in university. You need patience. You need to really be interested and love what you are doing, because you will not survive. There were people who dropped out along the way because they didn't have the enough patience, or they failed 1 year and did not have the oomph to carry on. So they just gave up and left it. I know a guy who got into clinics when we started working when we were doing our practicals. He figured, he doesn't love this thing, and he left. Imagine someone in finally having enjoyed 5 years of class and all that. You get into fifth year and you start working with the animals. You realize this is not where you want to be. So you must be sure of what you want. And be intentional. Go in there with with a clear understanding of what you're getting yourself into. But I can tell you, this is a very good, as I told you, it is a very vast, it is broad. So you can find yourself, or you can find what you love within the veterinary industry. I mean, it's a big industry. So if you want it, go for it, but know what you're getting yourself into. It's a 6-year degree. There's a possibility of repeating and find yourself doing it for 7 years or 8 years. I know a guy who did it for 10 years. So you must really know what you're getting yourself into. But once you are done, guys, the opportunities are very big. You can go abroad, can work with the University of Pretoria degree. You can work in New Zealand, in Australia, and in the UK. I've got people who are in UK. I know quite a few people who went to the UK and are working there, and they're loving it there. You can work in Australia. So you need, it's a good one, because with this economical state of this world now, you need something that will also put you in the international market. So it's a good career and a good course in that sense. So something to consider. And local also, it's quite big. Private, you can open your own surgery and all that. It's quite big. You can go industrial. It's quite big. You can go into being a state vet. It's also there. There are bursaries that are available out there. The government does provide a bursary, and basically, that's that. And you need to do well in school. And also, because there's what we call value-added forms. The forms that you need to fill in to show that you've been working, in volunteering. So you need to do voluntary work maybe in a surgery, or work with the state vets, and they need to fill forms for you so that you can attach them in your application as you apply for vet. So yeah, that's that. It's a long video, but I had to cover everything and give you enough information. So that's me. Enjoy your day, and I hope you find this interesting. Thank you.